Welcome to UWS Weekly, a show that is dedicated to covering United Women's Soccer, a national pro-am league with your host, Jonathan Ward. Each and every week, we will highlight players, supporters, and staff of the clubs we all pride ourselves to support in North America. The UWS is a league that is committed to advancing women's soccer. Good evening, soccer fans, and welcome to UWS Weekly in the UWS studio, powered by Rain Total Body Fuel. My name is Jonathan, and welcome to UWS Weekly, a show dedicated to the best pro-am league in the world. Starting us off this week, we have some past matches from week 2. Let's go over 2 of the matches. First, FC Buffalo and the Rochester Lancers. A scoreless first half gave way to an exciting finish. In the second frame in Rochester, where FC Buffalo took its first win of the season and its first win in UWS with a 2-1 victory over the Rochester Lancers. Both defenses controlled the game until the 57th minute when Danielle Viss placed a right-footed finish past the goalkeeper after an assist from Carissima Catrana to give FC Buffalo the 1-0 lead. Claire Myers equalized with about 15 minutes remaining for the Lancers from the spot, seemingly salvaging a point for the hosts. But Kelsey Arujo restored Buffalo's advantage in the 83rd minute, finishing off a 1v1 in what turned to be the game-winning goal. The silver lining in the defeat for Rochester was the play of their goalkeeper, who made 15 saves, several of which would be possible nominations for Save of the Week to keep her side in the match. And the other game that we talked about in the kickoff show, the Athenians defeated the Elite from Austin 3-0. The Athenians pulled ahead early and didn't look back in their season opening win, beginning play in the Southwest Conference of the UWS. Natalie Hansen fired the Athenians ahead in the 17th minute, scoring on a rebound, then provided an assist as she fed Amanda Smith 6 minutes later to double the advantage. The game quieted down from there, and the Athenians holding Austin Elite at bay for the full 90 until the 87th minute when Allison Fahey finished off the Elite. Tune in this weekend as we go over more of week 2 matches, as well as get you geared up for week 3 with members of the Kansas City Courage joining us live Saturday morning at 6 a.m. Tonight, for episode 25 of UWS Weekly, I'm joined by the Chicago Mustangs, who kick off their season this coming month, Friday, June 4th, as they start their season off in the UWS. But tonight, representing the team, we have their head coach, Dino, Laura, who is the team's jack of all trades, and the goalkeeper, Anna. You three, thank you so much for taking the time to join me. How are you guys doing this evening?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having us, John.
Same
No
here.
worries. So first, let's get started. Why don't you guys give us a little bit of background about yourselves before we get into some questions, and tell us how you got involved in the game we all love. Laura, we're going to start with you since you are the jack of all trades. Give us your story and tell us how you got started.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Laura. I am a junior originally at Harvard. I started playing soccer back home in Germany when I was about 5. And I started with a club that those viewers who are involved in following the German Bundesliga will know, Hannover 96, which is like the local hometown for me. And my first club where I played with a boys team for, I think, 6 years in total. So that's where everything started. And that's where I built the building blocks of my current soccer career.
Anna?
Hi, I'm Anna. Laura and I are actually teammates at Harvard, although I'm a freshman, going to be a sophomore this coming fall. I started playing soccer when I was 6 years old in a city just outside of Toronto, Canada. I grew up playing pickup soccer with my brothers and my cousins. So my dad noticed that I had some ability in soccer and put me in my first league around then. And Since then, I was exposed to some provincial camps, some youth national camps, and a little bit of exposure with the senior national team to this day.
Dino?
I don't think I remember when I first started. It was really long time ago, Jonathan. No, I started playing in Macedonia, and I played in the biggest club in Macedonia, in FK Vardar, and then came here as exchange student in high school, then stayed for 4 years of college soccer, then went on to play for 11 years professionally before finishing up here in Chicago and getting involved in youth coaching, and then finally getting introduced to the Mustangs in the 2014 season when they joined the Major Arena Professional Soccer League. And I did that for about 3 years. Then once the team dropped out of the professional league, this is when I continued with the youth soccer. And then about a year ago, I rejoined the Mustangs and rejoined with Armando for the purpose of creating the next and upcoming soccer brand that focuses on young and upcoming players.
So, Lauren, Anna, you have to explain to me. You're both from obviously outside of the U.S., but you both have experiences with your national programs. Tell us about your experiences. Laura, we'll start with you in Germany, and then Anna, we'll talk a little bit about Canada.
Yeah, so the German national team program, I guess, starts with the under 15s and it goes all the way up to the under 20s, and then you have to jump to the big professional roster. So I started out with every single youth national team. So I've played for games with them and I've had multiple camps. The most recent one was the under 20s in October, right before Germany went back into lockdown. We did get one small camp that was on home turf, no games, just practices. So very regulated, but at least we got to see each other after the big lockdown. So yeah, now I'm officially part of the extended roster of the full national team, but obviously can't go to any camp since they're not happening and I'm across the world.
And
Yeah.
Anna?
Kind of similar to how it works in Germany. The first kind of age group is the U15s, and it goes U17s and U20s before the senior national team. I was called into my first camp when I was 14 for the U17 national team, and from there kind of went up the system to the U20s. My last camp or last tournament was right before COVID in February of 2020, I believe, if I'm getting my years correct, in Dominican Republic. It was the U20 CONCACAF, the World Cup qualifiers, where we unfortunately lost to the U.S. in the quarterfinals. And since then, there hasn't been much going on for the youth national teams, but this will be my last upcoming year in 2022 with the youth U20 national team before being considered for the full pool.
Interesting. So, hey, Dino, what is the overall mission of the Chicago Mustang brand and the club as we know it?
Well, as I mentioned before, Chicago Mustangs used to be a professional indoor soccer club. And, throughout the time and the years that Chicago Mustangs was part of it, there were so many high-quality players who were either at the end of their careers or they were in the middle of their prime that came through the brand, and whether it's established themselves within the brand or made a name for themselves through the brand, they're still currently playing as some of the stars in the professional indoor soccer leagues. Even a couple of World Cup players, former World Cup players from Mexico, got to be here. One of them, Bofo Bautista, and the other one, Negro Sandoval, players who are truly superstars that got to go to our brand and work with our program. Now, what is different about the recent restructuring of the brand is that now we switch the focus to young and upcoming players, meaning we have stepped away from the professional brand for the purpose of entering into the Pro AM status and being able to create opportunities for young players to use the brand for the purpose of establishing themselves and stepping into the professional ranks. So the whole mission of the club has been restructured. We also have a youth academy that operates under the first teams, and the whole purpose of the club is, like I said, to identify young players, put them in uncomfortable situations, or encourage them to play above their proper age years for the main goal of having them reach their full potential by the age of 18. Now, the purpose of our first teams is to bring the necessary experience for us to be able to be competitive while competing with young players into this platform. One of the things that separates us probably from most of the teams that are competing in these leagues is the age of our players. And Anna and Lara can attest to that. And they've got to train with some of these players who are younger. However, I'm very confident, and they possess a certain amount of talent that shows potential in order for us to be able to find success with it. And to me, there is no greater feeling than having been able to find success with players who are yet to be stepping into these levels of play.
Well, Laura, off air, Laura was kind of giving us an idea of that situation by talking about the 2004s and how that made her feel. Now, Laura, Anna, how did you guys get involved in the Chicago Mustangs? Obviously going to Harvard, being in the Boston area, now in Chicago. How did this come around?
Yeah, so for me, I basically just reached out to my coaches back at Harvard, and I was like, I need a really good team to play on in the summer. There's no way for me to get home and do this at home, obviously, because Germany's still in lockdown and not doing too hot with COVID. So knowing that players and teams are going at it here through the summer, I was like, this is the perfect opportunity to stay here for the summer and work hard, and also like experience a new city and a new environment outside of just Boston and Cambridge and campus. So yeah, when our coach told us about Dino and we hopped on a call, I was pretty much sold after about 10 minutes when Dino explained his principles and like what he's trying to get at to me. So perfect fit for me for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Going off of what Lara said, for me, it was a similar situation back at home. We're still in lockdown, and, you know, sitting at home for the past year, doing remote school, and I haven't played an official match in over a year. So I knew I needed to get out there and play in the summer, and it would be a perfect preparation for my first official college season at Harvard. And again, like Laura said, I was sold as soon as we got on that call. Seemed like it was going to be an amazing experience and an amazing team, and so far it is. So all is well so far.
You know, the key is, I was going to say, the leadership that these players bring into the team and the quality of their experience that they have attained while playing for, whether it was internationally or whether it's playing at Harvard. I think that this is something that everyone in our organization benefits from, because these are not only outstanding players, but these are also outstanding individuals. You know, and having the different backgrounds, the different cultures. We also have a player on our team who is on the under-20 Argentinian national team. We have a player that is on the under-20 Mexican national team. So, you know, it's kind of like the melting pot, very much Chicago style. And having all these young players that are coming here and they're serving as role models, not only for our youth academy, but also for some of the younger players on our team, I think it's priceless for us.
So from a coach's standpoint, what is the goal this year, the inaugural year for Chicago Mustangs? And then Laura and Anna, as players, what are the goals? So Dino, why don't you start us off as the coach's view of a goal for you guys this season?
Sure. Well, you know, it's a very short season, and the preparation for the season is about week to 2 weeks that we get the full team together before we go into our first game. So, you know, as an organization, our goals are very difficult to be set ahead of time. Obviously, we want to be as competitive as possible. We want to make sure that we put a certain presentation of the field that is worthy of people talking about and eye-catching. But our goal is to make sure that we create the proper synergy, we create the proper chemistry, and identify the strengths of the weaknesses as soon as possible for the players to be able to have an enjoyable experience here. Because it's not, you know, prior to the season, we don't have as much time to truly get these players to, or mold them in the way that we want them to play, but identifying their strengths and weaknesses and figuring out a way how we can use them within our system is the fastest way to finding success. You know, so I'm super excited. One of the biggest goals for us before the season is obviously to identify the players, to create the proper system and style of play that suits most of them to play together, and obviously get as many wins as possible. We are by every means excited about the season and have high expectations and consider ourselves as one of the top teams in it.
So Lauren, and I have to ask, you know, you think about what's happening. You guys have not played in a while. I know Harvard did not have a soccer season this year. What are some of the goals personally, and then joining this team? What is the goal for the end result once it comes down?
Yeah, so for me, the last time I played was, I think, October 2020. I did get 2 games with Wolfsburg in the fall, which was really great because I played for their second team. which amazing, obviously, to be allowed to play at all during a pandemic. But it didn't last very long. So I'm obviously very hungry to get back on the field and play a real game, re-get like that awareness that you're playing with everyone else, and really get after it and compete with other players that are in this area, because I've never been to the Midwest before, and I'm excited to see what the players here can bring. And obviously, from a team goal standpoint, I'm here to win, and I want to get as many wins as possible.
Yeah, for me, kind of similar. I mean, I have only been playing friendly games for the past year and a half. And as great as those are, I'm a very competitive person and like legit wins. So kind of being in a league again for the summer, I'm obviously going to be pushing myself and also pushing the team because it is a team sport. So getting those wins, trying to top the league, and proving ourselves.
Speaking of wins and looking at where you guys are at, being part of Harvard, you don't make Harvard synonymous with, Ivy League soccer, and you don't think of it to be the same. But tell us about your experience at Harvard and what it's been like for you so far. Laura, you're a junior. Anna, you're getting into this is your freshman year. What's that experience been like at Harvard?
Yeah, Harvard's made a big jump athletically in the last few years. I think our RPI has gone from, I think, something like 140 to now like 42. So our ranking is a lot better. We're bringing in loads of international players, generally just players that are on their local national teams now as well. So there's a big shift in Harvard being a solely academic school now turning into one of the top programs in the country. So we're really aiming to make it to the national championship this year, and trying as hard as we can, obviously, to win the Ivy League, and get a ring for all our teammates, because we missed out on a year. So there's one ring missing.
That's right. One ring, but one to go, right?
Two more. I have two more opportunities. So there's two coming.
Anna?
Yeah, for sure. I'm still yet to play my first official season. Obviously, my first year at Harvard was a little bit different than a normal year would go. I was at home remote the whole year with all these international laws and the cancellation of the season. But for sure, just super hungry to get going and, get that ring even again, like Laura said. And like I mentioned before, I don't like losing. So that goes across all boards. So just kind of getting in there and getting that experience is going to be super amazing.
Do you know what drew the Mustangs to UWS? Obviously in America, there's a lot of opportunities in other entities, but what drew you specifically to UWS?
Well, we started with the PSL Indoor League, and it's the first official competition that we entered with our women's team, and we focused on younger girls to go into the competition very much like we are doing with the UWS. And our success in it, we won a national championship this winter, kind of led us to continue that momentum that we had going, and these are talented players that are not specifically indoor players. They're also outdoor players, and they play for their respective youth soccer clubs, a lot of them. And, to me, the most exciting factor is the relationship that we get to build with some of the universities that these players are coming from. Because it's not only a relationship where they send us some of their top players, like the two that are sitting next to me here, but it's also a relationship that allows and creates opportunities for our younger players that are part of our program to possibly be channeled that way because of the relationship built. So to me, we get them for a shorter period of time. These players that come and play with us here, that play university soccer, we get them for about 3 to 4 months of the year, and they spend majority of the time with their respective college programs. So having them here and being able to kind of serve as a supplemental program to that and continue and create an opportunity for them to play at a platform that may get them to the professional level, which majority of the players do have that goal in mind, like the competitors that I have here next to me. To me, it's the most rewarding feeling. And our brand, like I said, has focused on youth and creating that stepping stone into the professional ranks and creating the opportunity for the players, the local players who are looking for a place to be able to come and hopefully use it as a stepping stone to reach those levels. It's what everything that our brand is about.
Laura, I have to ask, and Anna, you too, what makes Chicago soccer different? Laura, obviously you played in Germany. You've been a part of the Harvard culture and seen Boston soccer. What makes Chicago soccer different?
That's a great question. I've only had about 3 training sessions to figure that out. So this is, I'm going to say, and this might be very specific to the players that we have here because we've played indoor a few times, is that they're very technical. And I've been extremely impressed with their technicality and their work ethic so far. But this might be like a general American soccer thing. German players sometimes get lazy and pass more than they run. And I feel like it's the opposite over here, which is exciting for me, obviously, to jump into a completely different soccer world and try and prove myself in there as well.
And Anna, being from outside Toronto and experiencing that, where I'd have to assume it's mostly hockey and basketball. How has it been in Chicago so far, and what's the difference for you as a goalkeeper?
Yeah, I mean, obviously in Canada the population is much smaller, so there's a much smaller pool of players. But just I've played many international games against U.S. and played against U.S. teams, but this is my first time playing with the U.S. team. So again, kind of like Laura was saying, it's more general, but very technical, fast-paced, physical, and just kind of it pushes me to keep up to that level and just keep pushing myself. And it suits my style of play, being able to play out the back and not just having, a kick and run system. So enjoying it so far.
Rivalries are a healthy thing in soccer, especially when you look at what's going on. You have a rival, it seems, already in your backyard in Chicago Kicks. How important and how healthy are rivalries in the sport of soccer? Laura and Anna, I'd love to hear your takes, and Dino as well.
You want to start us off, Dino?
Sure.
With the local rivalry? We can't speak to that.
I think that it's a very, very young rivalry. It's just getting started. And to me, it's great that we have more than one team from the league here in Chicago because it creates a greater awareness about the league, about the competition, and opportunity to see more games for the local fans. One of the things about the UWS that also drew us in, to go back to the question that you had earlier, is the opportunity for having multiple teams from the same city to be representing the state or representing the city and created rivalry. To me, any rivalry that we would have in our first year of competing into the league would be healthy rivalry, and anything any fans that can contribute towards making it more competitive, we'll welcome it and very much look forward to it.
Well, the one rivalry that comes to mind for me is obviously Harvard and Yale, which is for us pretty much like no matter if the championship game is later on, Harvard-Yale is always our biggest game. And the last time that we played it, we did play it away. And the stands were packed with Yale students and fans. And I love playing against a crowd that isn't for me because that just gets everyone so much more motivated and riled up. And winning on an away field and beating someone on their own home turf when the entire crowd is for them just makes it even better.
Yeah, for sure. Rivalries definitely add kind of another sense of pressure and expectation. And I think that's a privilege, and being able to use that towards your performance and getting used to that in order to play then in higher leagues and higher levels, for example, professionally, just getting a sense of that early on is definitely important, and, gives you a sense of adrenaline and can kind of show you how you need to play every single game and not just in a game that has added pressure.
I have to ask, I don't know if it's been made public yet, and this might be a spoiler alert, but the Chicago Mustangs have a UWS 2 side that will be joining the ranks here soon. I have to ask, what is the strategy for the club as it concerns youth development going forward? Having the youth program, having a UWS 2 team, having a UWS team, what does that look like as it relates to a pyramid for growth in that first team?
Well, right now, it contributes towards having greater numbers and greater quality players into our training pool. Our UWS2 and UWS team train together, and it creates, like I said, opportunity to have game-like situations in training. But as far as the future of the club and possible growth and using the pyramid, to be honest with you, Jonathan, at this point, we're not necessarily focusing on building a full youth pyramid on the girls' side going all the way down. It'd be great if it happens, but that's not our primary focus. Yeah, I feel that our success currently relies on our relationship with the local clubs around, and making them understand that these are the players that come to us for the purpose of getting a different experience than the one that they would get at their youth soccer clubs. So Chicago Mustangs has always been the brand in Chicago soccer that has focused on providing that top level soccer, or the highest level of amateur soccer that you can find, and has always been the brand to beat. So using these platforms, the MWPL on the men's side and the UWS on the women's side, I think it only contributes and helps us. We want to be the club that is getting recognized as the establishment for the players making the jump into the professional ranks. And as of right now, there is no any goals in regards to building a full pyramid on the girls' side. I think that, like I said, our focus is on building relationship with universities and building relationship with some of the local youth clubs who continue to help us and send their top players for the purpose of finding success in our summer seasons.
Laura and Anna, I have to ask, so based off of what you just heard from Dino, give me an idea of what you guys think the quality of player looks like. What is the club looking for, and how are you helping develop that next Laura, that next Anna in the club?
Yeah, I think it's really important for the development of the younger players to have people like us coming in, especially foreign players who are coming here specifically for training and playing with this team. I think it somewhat puts some pressure on the younger players to perform well and like make it competitive and make it worth our stay. But also like we can lead them obviously with we're both very vocal players, so we're gonna direct the younger players and tell them where to go, and also like get on them if they're not fully tuned up into the practice. So I think it's really important to have older players, and especially the international ones, to really show them as well like what the level is up there, and if they want to get there, then these are the like behaviors that they have to model from us and learn from us, and then adapt back at their youth clubs and bring back to even like fostering the next generation of players.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Laura and I just completely came into a new environment. I think it would be super easy for us to just sit back, be quiet, and follow other people around us. But like she said, we're both very vocal, and, having that confidence to come into a completely new environment and still be able to stand our ground and communicate, especially as a goalkeeper, it's my job to yell at the players in front of me. Otherwise I get yelled at. So just being able to have that confidence and show the other players that, you need to have that confidence and effort is super important as well. So if you're not pushing yourself every day to help yourself and others, then you're not going to be able to get anywhere.
Dino, I have to ask, bringing in players with international credentials, how does that help foster and grow the Mustang program?
Well, I think their backgrounds and their experiences in growing up as individuals, not only as players, contribute tremendously. And I'll say this, that I do feel that in the United States, I have been involved in the youth soccer, and majority of the youth and the way that times have been changing, I feel that we are a little bit spoiled. So bringing players from different cultures, I think it brings that experience. And also, she mentioned confidence. There's a different sense of confidence. There's a different sense of maturity. And to me, the most important thing is a character. These two players, not only do they contribute with their skill set, not only do they contribute with their experience, but there's a certain character that foreign players bring. And again, like I said, everybody has a different background, and everybody comes from a different society. And some of the advantages of the society outside of the United States is that not everything is given. Everything has to be earned. You have to prove yourself at a younger age. And to me, this creates a certain grit that the players have when they bring into the team. And we, even in the short time that these players have been here, we have been able to witness it. They're truly like trendsetters in our team. They're truly players who lead by example. And I cannot be any more excited to have them here and look them perform throughout the season.
So this year has been difficult for everyone. You look at what happened back. I remember back March 14th, it was a phone call saying, hey, we're going to take a 2-week break from school because of COVID. And that 2-week break turned into almost a full year, if not more. What have each of you taken away from this experience, both positives and perhaps negative, that's helped you either better yourself or made you look a little deeper into your future?
Yeah, I can start off because I was on campus when the email hit that we were going to go home and we weren't going to come back. And the first thing I thought of was, what am I going to do without my teammates for a whole year, for 5 months, for 2 weeks? We had no idea how long this was going to be, but it seemed pretty important and pretty bad. So I was like, this is going to be a long time. And none of us had lived at home with our parents for that long of a time, any time before. We were all used to playing by our own rules, living on campus, living with our friends and our teammates. So it was very weird. But I really enjoyed kind of taking some time for myself and slowing down during the pandemic, even though it was forced. I think it was good that it was forced because I was really bad at taking time for myself and focusing on things like mental health and fostering relationships that were kind of like overlooked beforehand. So I really like that the pandemic kind of forced me to slow down and really like take some deep dives into myself and really figure out who I am as well. So I really came back with a different air of confidence as well, and also just a different personality. Yeah, and I'm just more than excited to be back with my teammates again in the fall. So it made us even more hungry for the season and winning a championship as well. So.
Yeah, I think for me, kind of obviously the initial disappointment of not having a normal first year at college. But obviously COVID did give me a sense of gratitude and helped me realize that nothing should be taken for granted. And also I could have easily just sat on my bum all year with no season and, no competition, but it kind of helped me realize that constant motivation is not necessarily true. I think it's important to be disciplined, which will lead you, through those days where you have no motivation and want to kind of just lay in bed all day. But knowing your goals, setting long-term and short-term goals, and kind of working towards those always helped me realize that there's a bigger picture ahead to get through the kind of tough times that were going on.
So I have to ask though, as a teammate for both of you, has it made you a better teammate in that you've maybe learned a little bit more about yourself and the ability to provide empathy to your teammates?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I had to work on my empathetic skills for sure. So thank you to the pandemic for forcing me to learn to be a better person. So I'm hoping that my teammates will attest to that I am a nicer human being now.
Well, Anna's already there. She's only experienced the good side of you, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess you could say I'm Canadian, so there's automatically that nicer side of me. If that's true or false, I don't know. But no, for sure, just kind of being away from the team too, just making sure to focus on keeping those relationships strong, and obviously being off the field, that gives you more time to study the game, study yourself and study your teammates. So definitely help build those relationships, even though we weren't actually physically on the field together for a good amount of time.
And Dino, what about you? What have you been able to take away from this? It's obviously allowed you to slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
Can you give some insight into how it's helped you?
It's been, to me, it's been mainly concerning because us being foreigners here, we have two sets of families. One that we have attained while being here and friends, and then there is the friends and families that we have back home. So there is more to worry about. I initially approached COVID just like everybody else, with a lot of unknowns and with a lot of fears. And I feel that as the time has gone by, we have all kind of gone through that adjustment period, and now there is a little bit more confidence about the whole situation. I feel that things are not the same, and I feel that things are not going to be the same. And we live in times where there is a lot of unpredictables and a lot of unknowns. So focusing on today, here and right now is the only thing that we can do. And this is why I feel that in regards to what has COVID, how it has affected me, it has helped me focus more on right now. And she mentioned short-term and long-term goals. I feel that everything right now that we are setting should be for making most out of our short-term goals before looking too far ahead of the road. So we are in this for this season. We are so grateful that we can have this season, try to make the most out of it and create the most enjoyable experience for the players and everybody from our staff that will be part of this moving to the summer.
What should fans be excited about or look forward to this coming summer? Speaking of that, #summer soccer.
I think that they should speak about it. They should do a little
some
self-advertisement.
nutmegs and some crazy goals. That's what I want to
Saves
see.
from me.
Nutmegs and golossos. I like it. That should be like a drink that's available at the stadium when fans come.
That's the slogan.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things about our brand is our unique style of play that is represented across board from the youngest teams that we have in the club, from the 6 and 7 years old, all the way up to our first teams. So one of the things that fans should be excited about is the consistency of watching good soccer. You know, and when I say good soccer, it's for those people who enjoy that certain type of game that a lot of people talk about, but very few are able to coach it and execute it. This is one thing that we have here in Chicago with the Mustangs, and this is one thing that has helped us generate such a good fan base that continues to follow us at the home and away basis.
So, Anna, not having a video or anything to watch of you, telling fans right now of what kind of goalkeeper, who you resemble, what goalkeeper in the history of soccer can they look at and see in you when you're playing this summer?
Not to kind of hype myself up, but on like the distribution and kind of confidence side, definitely a Neuer, because I am a sweeper keeper. I love coming off my line, playing with my feet. I definitely wouldn't try to dribble past players as Neuer would, but yeah, I definitely see some of him in me.
Laura, there are tons of central defensive midfielders in the history of soccer who are just outright just ballers. Edgar Davids comes to mind when you think of those. What kind of player should Chicago be looking at when they see you on the pitch this summer?
Yeah, my idol always has been Toni Kroos. One, because he's German, and two, because his balls that he plays and his touches are just out of this world. So that's what I aim to play for when I do play a CDM. If I'm playing a center back, which I can play as well, and with what I play at Harvard usually, I'll play something like a Virgil van Dijk. He's great, and a player that I look up to a lot in trying to figure out how to play that position when I was thrown into it. So yeah. A German player, and then I think he's Dutch maybe?
Yep, Van Dijk is Dutch. Started off at Celtic before he got big and ended up in Liverpool. So
there we go.
Listen, I got to ask, what does community mean to each of you?
Community means a support system and a backbone when I don't have my own backbone, when I'm not having a good day. It means family. And it's also not tied to like your direct family. So your community can be anyone that you choose or that you are thrown into. So yeah, that's what I define it as.
Yeah, for sure. I think just having like a sense of comfort and feeling like home, for sure, like Laura said, super important to have those people around you that, you know, will always support you and you'll support them. And yeah, you know, they have your back and you have theirs.
Dino?
Do I have to?
Yes, you do, sir.
I'm not much of a community person. I will tell you that, you know, with me and my life story, everything has been about identity. You know, I've surrounded myself with certain people who do believe in doing things in a certain way, who have similar beliefs, who have a vision in regards to reaching high goals and wanting to do everything in a certain way. You know, and one of the reasons of one of the things that has helped me find success while being a player and beyond it has always been my way of doing things. You know, so community to me is an opportunity to find that necessary support and find that necessary background in regards to being able to fall down onto something. But my primary goal has always been to surround myself with not necessarily people that are from a certain community, but of a certain culture. You know, so I would say that I would always brand myself more of a culture person rather than a community. And I welcome anybody that has those similar beliefs to come into my circle.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. That concludes the easy stuff. So during the show, Producer Joe, you guys have been able to see the background as he's punching air. He makes some hot seat questions. And the first hot seat question actually goes to Laura and Anna. Joe wants to know, if you had to wear an opposing team kit, are you wearing the kit of Yale or your national team rival?
Oh, this is a hard one.
Tough one.
Way to put us on the spot. I will never wear a Yale shirt. I am very not sorry to say that. Germany has a bunch of rivals. Our closest one is usually the Netherlands, just geographically. I think an orange jersey is pretty cool, so I will hype up an orange jersey over wearing a Yale jersey any day.
Anna?
Yeah, definitely not Yale. For sure, no.
Correct answer.
Yeah, with the national team, Canadian national team, US is definitely our biggest rival. I have some of my teammates and friends who play for them as well. So, throwing on one of their jerseys wouldn't be too bad. I have some huge respect for them. They're a very great team. So.
All right, good job. All right, you guys made it through that hot seat question. Now, if you could have a song play every time in your room, what song would it be?
Oh my God. Suddenly I forgot every song on this planet.
Well, my biggest quarantine bop was Don't Start Now from Dua Lipa. Big Dua Lipa fan. And that's the one that got me through those first few months. So that's what my instinct is telling me to go with right now.
Oh gosh. I don't even know. I do love EDM, so anything Loud Luxury, for example. Yeah, I don't really have a specific song, but
all right, anything EDM, as long as it's blaring through the a song that you'd have to have play every time you enter a room.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh boy. That's a very difficult question. I thought I wasn't in the hot seat. What happened here?
You're on the hot seat.
A song that would have to play every time I enter the room. I'll choose something from Eric Clapton.
Okay. So anything Eric Clapton. All right.
Anything Eric Clapton, yeah.
All right. Favorite dad joke. Favorite dad joke.
Oh God.
I can't tell you a single dad joke right now.
That's a dad joke.
Thinking.
Literally. No, we got some foreign dads. So they're not in English, I can tell you that much.
I do make some bad jokes, and I can attest to that. I make a lot of bad jokes. We live together and right now, and I do make some bad jokes. Really.
So instead of a dad joke, it's a Laura joke. Anna, is there a bad Laura joke?
Not that I recall right now. I mean, yesterday we were scrolling through Instagram and one of our teammates posted something that said in the caption, "Ready, set, go." And Laura decided to comment, I'm ready. Thinking that was very funny, but she laughed at herself and no one else did. So,
all right. Chicago's known for its eats. Can you tell me a favorite local restaurant that you guys have attached yourselves to?
Ooh. Well, my roommate has told me to go to, what was it, Luminati's Deep Dish Pizza.
Oh, deep dish. Need some deep dish.
So I'm going to go with Deep Dish Pizza, and it's going to have to be one of the fancy ones in the city that we're going to explore when we do get to doing some touristy things.
Yeah. We haven't been out to eat much yet, but, there aren't many Chick-fil-A's in Canada, so do love Chick-fil-A. Yeah.
There's a sauce shortage of Chick-fil-A coming up, I hear. So be careful. Get your sauce in. Favorite local restaurant?
For me, it's gonna be Buffalo Wild Wings. I definitely enjoy going there, and I go quite frequently with a lot of the members from our staff, and we have a great time and we have great food there. As far as traditional food, it would have to be Skadarlia. It's a famous Macedonian restaurant here in Chicago that has very authentic food that I also enjoy eating very much.
Most embarrassing soccer memory.
Oh God.
We this spring when I was on campus training, we played a lot of indoor soccer, but it wasn't on a turf or a real indoor field. It was on a tennis court. And I was absolutely not used to the ground. So we played with a little toka machine as well. And at some point I was trying to pass with that little toka ball, and I really just did like an X with my legs and stepped over my own and just fell and kept rolling. My coaches were laughing. So I was like, I'm just going to stay on the ground. So I literally didn't get up for like 5 minutes. Very embarrassing.
Yeah, for me, I am very clumsy. So it was in the middle of an exhibition game. We were playing against the boys team, I think about 2 years ago. And I received a pass back from my center back, and I tripped over my own feet and fell backwards, and the ball rolled into our net. And we did lose that game 1-0 because of that. So yeah.
Yours beats mine.
Yeah.
That's a winner. That's a winner right there. Dino, tell me you can help Anna out and give us a better one.
Most embarrassing would be realizing at a professional game at halftime that your shorts are on backwards. That would be the most embarrassing moment for me.
All right. Next question. Ask for permission or beg forgiveness. Which one are you going with?
Beg forgiveness. Always. Sorry, Mom. I don't ask for permission ever.
I would say ask for permission. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, Laura.
Beg forgiveness, definitely here.
Let's go.
What advice would you give a younger you?
I would say don't compare yourself to other people, especially if other people are, peaking at different ages than you are. I think everyone has their different kind of time for growth and like peaking. So yeah, that would be a big one for me.
I think mine would be step out of your comfort zone and get comfortable being uncomfortable earlier and more often. I think I would have made a bunch of decisions a lot earlier than I did. For example, coming to the US for college and soccer was like me stepping out of my comfort zone. So like coming up with that decision or making decisions along those lines earlier would have helped a younger me for sure.
Myself, yeah. For me, it would be believing that the impossible is never impossible. And also it would be finding a way. Adaptability is one of the biggest qualities that you can have. I went throughout my professional careers and I was self-centered for most of it. And I feel that I could have made a lot greater impact by evolving everybody around in a little different way. I think that one of the qualities and one of my strengths came from having that such strong self-belief. And but in the same time, I realized that it could have been maybe a little bit more fun if I incorporated everybody else a little bit more. But certainly no regrets to how everything had played.
Well, you three, I really appreciate you taking the time this evening to join me and have a conversation. In order for people to kind of keep up with you and what's going on at Harvard and what's going on this summer, and eventually as you grow with your national teams and continue coaching in Chicago, how can people find out more about you and follow your adventures?
I guess social media. Twitter, Instagram. I don't know what else really.
Yeah, same. Instagram, Twitter. Also Harvard Women's Soccer's Instagram to stay up to date with our games and our practices and just generally what life as an HWS player is like, because it's pretty amazing.
And obviously for Dino, everything Chicago Mustangs, right? At Mustangs Soccer on Twitter and Chicago Mustangs on IG. If you need to get those handles, they're down there on the bottom. Well, I really appreciate you guys giving me the time to chat, and I look forward to June 4th, your guys' opening match in the hashtag Summer of Soccer for the UWS. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Jonathan. I appreciate it.
Good luck to you guys. Thank you so much for joining us this evening for episode 25 of UWS Weekly. You can follow all things UWS and UWS2 on their social media pages, as well as send questions for the shows as well. Join us this Saturday morning for the UWS kickoff show powered by Rain Total Body Fuel at 6 a.m. Pacific as we get you primed up for week 3 of UWS matches. So until then, cheers everyone and have a great rest of the evening.